afternoon. Hi there, everybody. I cannot believe we have so many people here on this gorgeous day in La Jolla, so thank you very much. If everybody would like to go ahead and find a nice seat, get yourselves comfortable for an amazing experience. My name is Candace McGee, and on behalf of La Jolla Pres Concert Series and the staff here, we welcome you. For those of you who are in the hall here and those of you online, thanks for supporting our concerts, and especially for the artists today. This is very, very exciting for us. After the past 2 years, we all know what happened and how we know how the artists were unable to perform, which is their livelihood, their passion. We're so thrilled after these 2 long, long years of no young artists to be able to present them today. So thank you for supporting them. Just a couple of quick items. It might be a good time now to turn off your phone or other device that might make a sound. It might be a good thing. This is being recorded today, and it's being streamed live, and it will be posted on the church website, ljpres.org, after the concert at some point shortly, maybe in a day or two. And you'll be able to forward that if you want to and listen and have other friends share in this. It's going to be a wonderful experience. So I wanted to make a couple of quick notes and tell you a little bit about this Young Artist Program. Many of you in the room are actually parents who supported this, your children, your students in this way. There are parents, family members, friends, teachers, coaches, a lot of really wonderful support that these young people have had over the years. And La Jolla Pres Concert Series has joined with Musical Merit Foundation in this wonderful partnership where Musical Merit does all the hard work of providing this stupendous scholarship program. Every year, I don't know how many musicians they hear, they cull it down and they have semifinal auditions and scholarship, this wonderful scholarship program. They invite us to come and hear the finalists. So in June, our Concert Series Committee went over to First United Methodist and heard 8 of the best of the best. I mean, there are already top-level musicians competing for these scholarships. We heard 8, and we had the very, very difficult job to select only 3 for our concert, so we could keep it to within an hour and 15 minutes. It would be awesome to have a concert with all of them. But we have 3 musicians today who are superbly talented, who did amazing things during COVID to keep their art alive, to keep their passion, their focus. I cannot imagine what it would be like to be a performer and not have my audience that I am trying to communicate with and receive back so much that is a natural part of art. So we really commend what they have done through COVID. In the concert program in your hands, there are a few notes about just a couple of comments of things they shared with me about what they did during COVID. And it's everything from virtual concerts that Malvyn did for retirement homes. Andy produced, with his brother, produced a theatrical piece, a music theater piece. Isabelle dug really deep into examining why she wanted to be a musician and really elevated her, I would say, her commitment to her field to be a professional concert flutist. So these are just a few examples of what musicians have gone through. Other artists as well, other people who are not in this field, but I just think it's especially interesting to see how people have dug deep to retain the things that are most important to them and what they're most passionate about. So thrilled that you're here to hear them. Our 3 artists today are, as you can see in your program, Andrew Konopak, who was our bass section leader and went on our Italy tour, our choral tour, a couple of years ago in 2018. Thrilled to have him back. Just a quick comment about him. After this concert, he's dashing next door to St. James. We heard him last night sing this beautiful piece called All Is Calm, and he has been selected from that cast. A small group have been selected to go to New York City and sing with the New York City Ballet, so he'll be heading there in a couple of weeks. So we are beyond thrilled to have Andy back and borrow him for a little bit. We also have Isabelle Jamois, who is just an energetic and passionate flutist, does everything from classical repertoire that you'll hear and will love and enjoy, as well as some really amazing music that she produces on this pipe of metal. And then Malvyn, who is now a senior in high school, we invited him 2.5 years ago because we were so impressed with him as a 16-year-old, and then COVID came and interrupted that, which we were so sad about, and he remained absolutely positive, when you're ready, I'm ready to do this with you. We called him again this year, and he said, absolutely, I'm on, and he's a senior now. Such a talented, multifaceted individual. It's exciting to see for all of them what's ahead for them. We wish them the most success in whatever they choose, and if it's music, even better, God bless. And so we're going to bring them out in a few minutes, but first, if you just take a minute to just say a quick prayer, and then we'll get going on our concert. There will be no intermission. We do have a reception afterward, which we really hope you will join us and have a chance to talk one-on-one with the artists and with the concert series folks. And also, thank you, Concert Series Committee, an amazing group of volunteers who are so dedicated and time after time deliver a wonderful performance for you and then a lovely reception afterwards. So I hope you'll do that. So just a quick prayer. Oh, gracious God, thank you for the gift of music. It goes without saying, you know that. You've instilled in us an ability to appreciate when other humans can find in their souls ways to express often what is not expressible in words, and also in language, the beauty of the written word when put to music, and what that gives us. We thank you for that, and then we know that it's always turned around and it's in your praise. In God's name we pray. Thank you. Amen. So now it's time for the show to come on. Our first singer is, let's just welcome all the three artists first before we get into it. Okay.
Ben is coming out, I'll tell you a little bit about the piece that we'll be starting with. This is Guglielmo's aria from Mozart's opera buffa Così fan tutte. At this point in the show, Guglielmo and his best friend Ferrando have left town. They've pretended to leave town to go to war. They've come back in disguise as foreign soldiers, and they've got a bet going, where each is going to try to seduce the other's lover. And that's the entire opera, is just their whole comedy of errors trying to see what they can do with their significant other's significant other. But in this aria, Guglielmo is kind of introducing themselves and saying, these are our assets, this is what we have to offer. And eventually he gets a little too licentious with it, and the ladies storm off in a huff, leaving Guglielmo and Ferrando to praise the women's virtuous, heroic fidelity.
Rivolgete a lui lo sguardo e vedrete come sta. Tutto dice, io cello, io ardo, idol mio, pietà, pietà. Io ardo, io cello, io ardo, idol mio, pietà, pietà. E voi cara un sol momento il bel ciglio a me volgete e nel mio ritroverete quel che il labbro dir non sa. Volando innamorato non è niente il mio confronto. Me d'oro sen piagato, verso lui per nulle conto. Son di fuoco i miei sospiri, son di bronzo i miei desiri. Se si parla poi di merito, certo io sono, ed egli è certo, che gli uguali non si trovano da Vienna al Canada. Se si parla poi di merito, certo io sono, ed egli è certo, che gli uguali non si trovano da Vienna al Canada, da Vienna al Canada, da Vienna al Canada. Siam due cresi per ricchezza, due narcisi per bellezza, in amori marcandoni, verso noi sarian buffoni, verso noi sarian buffoni, verso noi sarian buffoni. Siam più forte d'un ciclopo, letterati al par di Esopo, letterati al par di Esopo. Se balliamo un pigneggiere, si gentilo snello piede, se cantiam col trino solo, facciam torto all'usignolo. E qualch'altro capitale abbiam poi che alcun non sa, e qualch'altro capitale abbiam poi che alcun non sa. Bella, bella, tengo un solo, se ne vanno, ed io ne godo, eroine di Costanza, specchi son di fedeltà, sì, eroine di Costanza, specchi son di fedeltà. Specchi son di fedeltà, eroine di Costanza, specchi son di fedeltà, specchi son di fedeltà, specchi son di fedeltà, di fedeltà, di fedeltà, di fedeltà.
Today I will be performing the first two movements of Johann Sebastian Bach's Sonata for Flute and Continuo in E major. E major is regarded as a key known for its splendor, grandeur, but also a sense of innocence and purity. The first movement is an adagio. It is very slow and open and really reflects that feeling of splendor that I said is inherent to that key of E major. And the second movement is more lively. It's in the form of a Baroque dance. It was originally written for a traverso flute, which was like a recorder, but it was played sideways, and it had one key. Since then, there are a lot more keys on the flute, so anyways, I'm playing it on a modern flute. It was written for Frederick the Great, who was an amateur flutist, as well as King of Prussia, so that's pretty impressive. And I will be playing with Dana Burnett, who is incredible. So I hope you enjoy the first two movements of Bach's sonata in E major.
So, my next aria is Zurga's aria from Bizet's opera The Pearl Fishers. The Pearl Fishers, near the very beginning, has one of the best-loved duets in all of opera. They just call it the Pearl Fishers duet. But in this duet, Zurga and his oldest friend Nadir both swear that they will not pursue Layla, the new priestess who's in their village, romantically, because they value their friendship so much more than any woman that could come into their lives. Of course, the tenor has to screw it up. So Zurga catches Nadir and Layla in a compromising situation. And long story short, as the leader of the island, he decrees that they are to be put to death in the morning. There's a lot more than just his jealousy, but that's a big part of it. This aria is kind of the aftermath of that decision. Zurga is struggling with his decision and saying, did I do the right thing? I don't think I did. Nadir would never do this to me. And I'm just filled with regret. So this is Zurga's aria from The Pearl Fishers.
Oh, moi le remords m'oppresse à dire les là, hélas, j'ai honte de ma cruauté. Oh, pardonnez au transport d'un cœur irrité.
Thank you for coming. I'm Malvyn. Today I'm going to be playing Beethoven's Appassionata. The Appassionata is probably one of Beethoven's most famous piano sonatas, and it encompasses a lot of Beethoven's compositional techniques, structural themes, emotional themes that he uses in the latter half of his composing life. And especially one thing that can be heard in the Appassionata is Beethoven's stance on taking inspiration from previous works and older works. So Beethoven does like to take ideas from previous composers, and the thing is about Beethoven is he will take previous ideas but incorporate them in his pieces in a way that's understood by him. And usually this type of understanding is by exaggerating everything that was done. So you'll hear in the Appassionata, he'll have a larger range of dynamics. He makes everything loud, louder, everything soft, softer, everything a little bit faster, a little bit more virtuosic, and more brilliant overall. And the way he kind of compensates for these extremes is, in the Appassionata, he takes the theme at the very beginning, which is this type of fate, despair, darkness, mystery, and he will utilize it in the entire first movement. So, contrast to the classical sonata form, what he does is, in the second theme, instead of having a completely different theme, a contrasting theme, he'll actually use the fate theme, and you'll hear it in the rhythm. Once I get to the A-flat major section, it'll broaden up, it'll be brighter, and it will be contrasting in the elements, but not in the actual motif. So it's very different from previous sonatas in that sense. And what that does is just make the whole piece a little bit more compact and easier to listen to compensate for all these extremes that he adds. In the second movement, it's very much a chorale, and again, he kind of uses this unification idea by making it into a theme and variations. So I hope when I play the second movement, you'll be able to hear the opening theme of the second movement throughout the entire piece. And as for the third movement, again, it's a very big contrast to the second movement, kind of like a tempest of emotions. And I wanted to say a short story about the third movement. It's said that when Beethoven first composed this third movement, what he did was he was on a walk with one of his students. They arrived at a meadow, and this piece was composed in around 1804, 1805. So when Beethoven's student, Ries, said to Beethoven to hear that woodwind music, Beethoven could not hear the music because in 1800 he had begun going deaf, and by 1804 to 1805, when he composed this piece, he was already at a stage where he could not hear the music. So they left, and Ries told Beethoven, trying to comfort him, saying that the music had already stopped. And on the way back, they heard a thunderstorm. And so Beethoven, taking inspiration from the thunderstorm, pieces together the third movement of this Appassionata in his head, comes home and plays it for Ries, memorized. And Ries says that it's something that he never forgets for the rest of his life. So I hope you enjoy Appassionata. Thank you.
Next, I will be performing Sonatine by Pierre Sancan. This piece was composed in 1946 by Pierre Sancan, who was a pianist and composer. He taught at the Paris Conservatory and wrote this piece for the professor of flute at the Paris Conservatory, Gaston Cruinen. And this piece is a one-movement work, but it is divided into 3 sections. The first section has a very slow, lyrical, beautiful, floating melody, but it's also juxtaposed with this jazz waltz sort of feeling. Very 20th century French, very new, very, very different from Bach, let's just say. The second movement is, it's a very passionate, more lyrical movement, very typical of second movements of sonatas. And then the third movement, which follows a brilliant virtuosic cadenza, is also very virtuosic. It goes very fast, not too fast, I promise. Because the piano part is extremely demanding. And this piece, as it is a 20th century French work, it is very reminiscent of works by Debussy and Eric Satie. So I hope you enjoy Pierre Sancan's Sonatine for flute and piano.
last piece that we will perform for you tonight is A Letter from Sullivan Ballou. The music is by John Kander, who you may know as the composer of Cabaret, Chicago, other fun favorite musicals like that. This is not a musical, this is just a standalone art song. Music by John Kander, but the text is source material. Sullivan Ballou was a mid-19th century lawyer, politician, and eventually he volunteered to be a major in the Union Army in the Civil War. He wrote this letter to his wife, Sarah, about a week before the first Battle of Bull Run. In the battle, he was hit with a cannonball and succumbed to his wounds within the week. I'm not singing the whole letter. The whole letter is very long. I encourage you to look it up and read it. It's one of the most eloquent things I've ever read in my life. But it starts, "My very dear Sarah, the indications are strong that we shall move in a few days, perhaps tomorrow. Lest I should not be able to write again, I feel impelled to write a few lines that may fall under your eye when I am no more. I have no misgivings about or lack of confidence in the cause in which I am engaged. And my courage does not halt or falter. I know how strongly American civilization now leans on the triumph of the government, and how great a debt we owe to those who went before us through the blood and sufferings of the Revolution. And I am willing, perfectly willing, to lay down all my joys in this life to help maintain this government and to pay that debt. Sarah, my love for you is deathless. It seems to bind me with mighty cables that nothing but omnipotence could break. And yet my love of country comes over me like a strong wind and bears me unresistably on with all these chains to the battlefield. The memories of the blissful moments I have spent with you come creeping over me, and I feel most gratified to God and to you that I have enjoyed them so long. And hard it is for me to give them up and burn to ashes the hopes of future years, when, God willing, we might still have lived and loved together and seen our sons grown up to honorable manhood around us. I know, but a few and small claims upon divine providence. But something whispers to me, perhaps it is the wafted prayer of my little Edgar, that I shall return to my loved ones unharmed.
breath escapes me on the battlefield, it will whisper your name. Forgive my fault and the many pains I have caused you. How thoughtless and foolish I have oftentimes been. How gladly would I wash out with my tears every little spot upon your happiness. But oh, Sarah, if the dead can come back to this earth and flit unseen around those they loved, I shall always be near you in the gladdest days and in the darkest night. Always, always. And if there be a soft breeze upon your cheek, it shall be my breath as the cool air fans your throbbing temple. It shall be my spirit passing by. Sarah, do not mourn me dead. Think I am gone, and wait for thee, for we shall meet again.
My very dear Sarah, the indications are strong that we shall move in a few days, perhaps tomorrow. Lest I should not be able to write again, I feel impelled to write a few lines that may fall under your eye when I am no more.
Oh. What a way to start our new season. Thank you all so much. Fantastic. Thank you. We hope you'll join us at the reception now. It's right next door in the fellowship hall. Just a couple of quick final things, and we'll get going to the reception. We really hope this has filled your heart and your soul. I mean, this is just, again, what a way to start the season. Thank you to today's artists and these wonderful accompanists. Dana Burnett, also herself a musical merit protege. It's okay. And Musical Merit Foundation met here today, their annual board meeting. So thank you all for being here and this great partnership. That's what a gift. Okay, I said a lot of thank yous in the bulletin, in the program, but I also have to thank the concert series donors who let us do this, who enable us to continue to hire artists and give them work and allow them to perform and express from their souls for us, for our benefit. Thank you, donors who are here, many of you. Thank you out online for your attendance. What a gift this is. Also, very special thanks. At the back of the room, always, is our sound and our communications team, our tech director and our communications director, Justin Kent and Jim Sedgwick. Thank you all. We could not do it without you. Thank you very much. Okay, so a little plug for the Christmas concert, December 11th, Sunday, December 11th, 4 p.m., 7 p.m., reservations are recommended. It's in your program how to do that, or contact us at church and we'll help you with that. So no intermission, of course, meant no passing the plate. I know you miss that. If you are moved to continue to support us financially, there are donation boxes at each of the entrances and also in the reception hall. This is free for you. We really appreciate the financial support we get. We literally could not do it and bring artists here for you without that. So thank you a million times over. Well, thank you for spending your day with us today, a part of your time with us today. We really appreciate you being here and online. And now just a really quick thanks to our good God for this. Just a quick prayer in closing, and then meet us in the reception area, please. So, gracious God, again, thank you for today's inspiring and absolutely moving experience. It's such a privilege to receive your gifts and then to share them in this amazing process of creativity and expression. We're grateful to you for these artists and partner organizations and collaborative staff at La Jolla Press who make this all even possible through your love. We ask you to send our musicians, their loved ones, our patrons, friends, and everyone out safely into the world to continue sharing their gifts far and wide. Thank you for being here. Amen. Okay, thank you all. Thank you. This was awesome. Thank you.